everyone and welcome back to WaverlyReads and welcome to the books that I read in January 2019. Feels like forever since I've done a wrap up, but here we are and here we go. I read 5 books in the month of January. Obviously this one is a little bit big, but I read 5 books, 4 actual books and then this extra one down here, and I'm going to go through what I read, what they're about and what I thought about them, spoiler free style, so don't you worry your little noggins. I'm in a bit of a weird mood and I just want to get this video filmed because I'm also a bit sick, so there's that. But yeah, let's show you what I read. I don't think I disliked any of the books I read this month, which is great because I started off the year on a really good note. So the first book that I read was City of Heavenly Fire by Cassandra Clare, which is the last book in the Mortal Instruments series. I'm so glad that I got through this book first because it was on my immediate TBR for the year and it was also the biggest book on there, coming in at a whopping 640 pages. So I definitely am so glad I got this out of the way, because if it got to about June, July time, I would look at this book on my TBR and go, no, it's just too big. So I got it out of the way in the beginning of the year and I'm so glad. And evidently with it being the last book in a series, I cannot tell you what it is about because that would spoil the entire series, but I can tell you what the first book is about. And that book is City of Bones by Cassandra Clare. City of Bones follows this girl named Clary, who is an ordinary mundane person until she can see angels, basically. She sees this group of people that you're not supposed to be able to see, and they are shadow hunters. Later on in the book she finds out that she herself is a shadow hunter and her mum is kidnapped, and she basically sets out on her journey to find her and know why she doesn't remember being a shadow hunter. Can't say last name because that's spoilers. Follows her and her friend, boyfriend, romantic interest character Jace, who is the shadow hunter that she sees and gets like involved with, and her basically becoming a shadow hunter and getting through being a shadow hunter and discovering the world with a lot of horrible things on the way. I don't know if I've done that justice at all, like it's so long since I read the first book. There is also a spoiler-free review of that book up on my channel if you want to go and see that. I will link it in the description if I can remember. Really enjoyed this book. I had a few issues with some of the books, how I didn't remember a lot of the plot points. Some of the major plot points I forgot, but every single time I dive into the next book I start remembering them as I'm reading it, so it's obviously just my brain being like, that wasn't important, and then I read on later on I'm like, wait, yeah, maybe it kind of was. But it was a really fun read. I read it quite quickly as well for its size, and I just enjoyed it, and I cried at the end and I found out that I loved some characters that I didn't really realise I liked so much, and it was a good read for me. The next book I read was the first book in the John Green-a-thon. If you didn't know, Shakira is hosting a John Green-a-thon where every 2 months you read one of John Green's novel. The first one was Turtles All the Way Down, evidently, by John Green. So this book follows a girl named Aza, or Aza, I say Aza, it's probably Aza, who has OCD and maybe anxiety, question mark. Follows her trying to find out the mystery about this boy that she knows whose dad has gone missing, and there's a huge reward for him or any clues about him, and she basically wants to get involved with her friend and just get the prize money because they are poor. But in the end she ends up becoming closer friends with the boy whose dad has gone missing, and she feels bad about it. So yeah, this follows her trying to get prize money, trying to solve the mystery. I'm being so shit at this. This is why I don't describe books, because I'm shit at it. I enjoyed this book. I think it was about a 3.5. It wasn't the best book I've ever read, but it may be one of my favourites of John Green's. Definitely one that I related to a lot more. I do have OCD tendencies. I do not have diagnosed OCD, but I do have OCD tendencies, and I definitely saw myself a lot in the character of Aza. I related to this book a lot more than I did a lot of his other characters, but again, John Green doesn't really know how to do teenagers, in my opinion anyway, and it just wasn't a teenager's voice. But I enjoyed it regardless. The third book I read this year was What If It's Us by Becky Albertalli and Adam Silvera. You all know already, just by saying those 2 names, that I loved this book. And it's my least favourite of all of Adam's writing, and it's my least favourite of Becky's writing, but I enjoyed it regardless. I enjoyed both of the characters, Ben and Arthur. A really good book. So this book follows our characters, Ben and Arthur. Now, who would have thought, right? Arthur has moved to New York just for the summer, whilst his mum is an attorney or something, and she's gone to New York for a job over the summer, and Arthur is only there for the summer. During one of his breaks where he's gone to go and get some coffee, he meets this boy named Ben in the post office carrying this big box of his ex-boyfriend's things. They have a moment. Say it's very insta-lovey. This book takes place over over like a month and a half, so it's obvious insta love. And then they lose connection, basically want to find each other, so they set out these ads and then regain their connection through the lost connection. They end up coming back together and keep doing these do-over first dates because something always goes wrong. It's just a really cute, really romantic book, and I loved it, and it's gay, so what more do you want? Like I said, it's my least favourite of both of their works, but still an amazing book between them. Like, I really enjoyed it. I just prefer the other books more. And also the first Adam Silvera book I haven't cried at, so this doesn't really give you the premise to cry. There's nothing bad that happens in this, which is probably why. Next book I read was Everless by Sarah Holland. Again, it was on my immediate TBR. In fact, all of these books were But Turtles All the Way Down, but that was on my TBR from last year, so it counts. I did really good sticking to my immediate TBR this month. So this book follows our main character Jules, who lives in this world where your blood is money, and you can basically sell your blood, which is selling the amount of time you have left, and you get these coins which you use to buy things. They turn your blood into money, literally. And you can also consume these coins, so you can put them in tea and stuff and drink them, and then you drink an extra year into your life or what. And this follows Jules, who has to go live in a palace for a while to be a servant in a palace because her father has run out of money, and you get a lot of money for going to work at the palace. You get paid a year for every month, so in 12 months you've acquired 12 years. A lot for a peasant, a lower class person. She decides to go to the palace, work in the palace, and a lot of mysterious things happen. The best way I can probably describe this book is to read the blurb to you, so I'm just going to do that. In the land of Semperia, the rich control everything, even time. Ever since the age of alchemy and sorcery, hours, days and years have been extracted from blood and bound to iron coins. The rich live for centuries, the poor bleed themselves dry. Jules and her father are behind on their rent and low on hours. To stop him from draining himself to clear their debts, Jules takes a job at Everless, the grand estate of the cruel Girling family. There, Jules encounters danger and temptation in the guise of the girling here, Roan, who is soon to be married. But the web of secrets at Everless stretches beyond her desire, and the truth she must uncover will change her life forever, possibly the future of time itself. It's a really good book. I think I rated it about a 3.5 and rated it a 3 on Goodreads because it definitely wasn't worth a 4. The sequel came out last month, and I am intrigued and I definitely do want to read it. However, I'm not in an immediate rush to buy it because it's only out in hardback. I'm willing to wait for the paperback. Although I was gripped and I was very intrigued, it wasn't anything new, nothing anything I'd never read before, other than the whole blood being money thing. That was very unique and I really liked that, and I'm willing to wait for the paperback, and it's 182 days last time I checked. So, and the last book I read was The Greatest Showman behind the scenes original art exclusive interviews thing that I got. It's just this really stunning book that goes through the making of The Greatest Showman and the thought process behind it and some characters and stuff like that. Really enjoyed this book. There's not really much I can say about it. It's a stunning book, and if you like The Greatest Showman, evidently you would like to learn more about it. That's all I can really say about that book. Those were the 5 books that I managed to read in the month of January. Let me know what you read in the comment section down below, or if you've read any of these and what your thoughts and feelings were on them, spoiler free style. Yeah, there's my January wrap up. If you enjoyed this video, please go ahead and give it a big thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already. I post a new booktube video like this every single Thursday, and a new weekly reading vlog on my vlogging channel, which is in the description. Go subscribe to that every single Monday. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you next week for another video. Bye.